So good morning everyone. My name is Arslan and you are watching Proper Tech Tutorial. So this is the part 6 of the series of learning Siemens NX from beginner to pro. And in part 6 we'll be understanding and learning about the border bars, the top border and the right, left and the bottom border bars along with the resource bars. So let's start. So this is the syllabus which I showed you in the first video of our learning Siemens NX, the resource bar and parts is mentioned in part 6. So we'll start with the resource bar by first creating a file that is this, and we'll name it as resource and border bar training. Okay, so we'll create a file and then we'll try to understand that what are these things and what are the usage of such things and how can we customize them. Okay, so first of all, we have created a file. We'll create a sketch, or we do not need to create a sketch for these things. So first of all, I will let you know what are these things. So this on the right, on the top is the top border bar, on the right is the right border bar, on the left is the left border bar, and in the bottom is the bottom border bar. We can check it by doing a right click and hiding the top border bar. You can see the top border bar has now been hidden, and if you want to show it again, we can again show the top border bar. If you want to show the left border bar, we can hide it from here, but this is basically something which cannot be hidden, so it will always be there. The right border bar can be hidden, and then if you want, you can have it again visible. And the bottom border bar is also something which cannot be hidden, the latest version of NX, and it will always be available. So these are the four border bars which are there, and now the things which are necessary or to be customized in the border bars is what is some things like, you can see there are certain tools available over here. For example, automatic work part change, you can activate or deactivate it. You have the filters, you have the 3D selection box, the rectangle, and the selection of hidden wireframe, etc. But there are certain things which need to be there in the border top border bar, such as the types of views, such as the types of such as the tools for measurement, etc., the isometric view, etc. So what you can do is that you can just click on the arrow, downward arrow that is present on the top border bar on the right side. The left click, do a left click on that, and just click on the view group, and you will see that tools or commands related to viewing are available over here. And again, you can do the left click on utilities group and you will get the measure over here. You can also change the utilities group. For example, if you want this thing also to be present, if you want object preferences also to be present in the view group, if you want like fit to section to be present, fit to be present, then you can just check those commands and tools which you want to be visible in the top border bar and go to the roles, right click on the custom role, save role, and then apply. So it will be then your user default or customer default for the top border bar. So what are their usages? We will get to know, or I can just show you that if, for example, I take a uh, okay, let us take this a sphere. We should create a sphere, and 100 we should do a 200 then click on apply, and we will have a sphere over here. You can also place the sphere at the center of the coordinate system, but just for showing some things which are related to the top border bar, I have created it in a hurry. So if you want, like, you can use the thing of zoom. For example, if I want to zoom only this section, I will do it like this. If I want to further zoom this section, I will do it like this. If I want to like pan this particular sphere, I want to move it, I can use it like this. or if I want to fit the whole sphere, whatever is available in the work part window, I want it all to be fit in the display window, I will click on the fit icon. If I want to click on like fit to section, so if you have created a section, you can fit it to the section that you want. So for that, you will have to click on fit section, and then it will get to fitting of section. So for that, you will have to create a section first. So we will learn about the section later on, like how to create section views over here in the part 9, and then we will understand how to fit to section. So these are some tools which are available in the top border bar. As far as my preferences are concerned, I use the following tool set. In my top border bar, I do not use many of them. I use only those which are necessary. Okay, so now coming to the resource bar. The resource bar is present over here. That is the you can see that these things are part of the resource bar also. The left bar, the left border bar, or the part navigator, assembly navigator, all these things present over here are also known as the resource bar. So you can pin it, you can unpin it. So this depends upon your work style, your type of preferences. And under this resource bar, you have multiple options. So we'll go through each of them one by one. So the first thing is the part navigator, in which you get model views, in which you get cameras, in which you get the model history. So for example, if I had added something like a cylinder or some cylinder, and I will just specify the vector for the height, and then specify the point that will be the coordinate system origin, and then I will specify the diameter and its height, and then click on apply. I will get a cylinder. I will click on fit, and it will get fit to the display window. After that, you can also click on the expanded of model views, such as if I click on the back, you can see the back is shown right now. Now the bottom is shown, the front is shown, the isometric is shown, and then in the isometric, the axis is present in a 45-degree fashion. That x-axis is inclined 45 degree from the horizontal, and the y-axis is also inclined to 45 degrees. Therefore, part of x, y, y, z, and zx is visible in the isometric view. There is also a trimetric view in which you can see that it is something like this. So these are type of the model views which you can use in order to see your created models and assemblies, or the sketch which you are creating in much more easier fashion without having to rotate it like this. So you can just click on isometric, and it will get oriented like that. You also have cameras, for example, back camera, front camera, front camera, isometric camera, and you can change these cameras from over here. Like for example, I want to edit the camera. I will go type in the camera in the search box. I will click on edit camera, and I will get a toolbox as to where is my viewpoint, or where is the view of the viewer. You can see in the right side over here that the view is being shown, or you can see the preview is being shown. If I change the view to something like this, it will get oriented as per my viewpoint. And if I want to change the rotation as to how am I standing, then it will also get changed. The preview will get changed. I want to move my the aspect ratio. For example, the graphics window, it should be 1:1 or 3:2. Then also it will be changed. The magnification can be changed, the clipping can be changed, and the lens flare can also be changed. So these are some things which can be done with the help of the camera tool. And there is one more thing in the perspective, that is, it will give you a much more perspective view. As to perspective view basically means that if you are closer to something, you will see that thing much more bigger, and if you are far from something, you will see that thing much more smaller. So if you see that we have a perspective of something like this, that we have, first of all, I will show you my cylinder. It is placed over here, and if I view it from here, I see that the top of the cylinder is looking as having much more bigger diameter than the bottom of the cylinder. So this is a perspective view, and if I change this from perspective to a parallel view, it will be displayed like this. So this is just for a visual purpose, and for presenting a presentation or something like that. So this is the camera feature which can be used for from the model or from the part navigator. Also, it has the model history, in which all the things which you will be doing will be enlisted over here in a chronological fashion. For example, first we created the sphere, then we created the cylinder. For example, now we want to create a sketch environment, then it will have the sketch environment over here. Then we want to create another sketch environment, then another sketch environment will be presented over here. Then you can see that these things will be enlisted in a chronological fashion. If you want to add a datum coordinate system, then you will have to finish the sketch. You will write datum and datum CSYS. Where do you want to add it? For example, I want to add it over here. I will click on apply, and then this datum will also be available in the model history of part navigator. Another thing is the assembly navigator, in which if you are creating an assembly, if you are adding components, then it will be enlisted in a chronological fashion over here. And if you want, you can expand it, unpack it, or pack it. That will be discussed in the assembly section of our Siemens NX training program. And there is something which is known as constraint navigator. For example, if you have made sketches and you have applied constraints, geometrical or dimensional constraints, those will be available in the constraint navigator, because sometimes the constraints are much more difficult to select or view. Then the constraint navigator comes in handy, and you can just click on the constraint navigator and you can see what all constraints have been used. I will just give you a demo by opening a file and showing you something like, okay, let us open this, and we have the constraint navigator, and we see that all of the constraint groups are mentioned over here. If I go into this sketch and I go into the I see that there are certain constraints available over here, and you can just click on it, and if you want to remove it, you can press the delete key, and if you want to keep it, just click anywhere in the open window. So this is the use of constraint navigator. You can use the constraint navigator if you want to add certain things for the assembly. Actually, the constraint navigator is for assembly. So I will show you by opening an assembly file. Sorry for that. I will open an assembly file and I will show you the constraint navigator. Now all the constraints that have been used in this assembly are present in this constraint navigator, and you can see I will put it in fit so that you can see the whole assembly over here, and all the constraints which have been used can be highlighted by clicking on the relevant constraints enlisted in the constraint navigator. So this was the part navigator, as constraint navigator for assembly, and assembly navigator for the components which have been put in the assembly. Okay. After that, we have the MBD navigator. That is not for the purpose of this training, and it is not required as of now. And furthermore, we have history, like what are the files which have been recently used by us. So you can see that this file was opened, IC engine was opened, part 4 training was opened. In part 4 of the video, in ribbon customization training, file was opened in the ribbon customization training part of the video. So all these things can be shown in the history. And then comes the role where we created a new custom role. So this is the part, this is the use of the resource bar and the 4 types of border bars which are there, and how do we customize the border bars. And furthermore, in the next video, we'll be dealing with the view manipulation as to how do we zoom, pan and rotate the models or an assembly, whatever is available in the display window of Siemens, and how do we orient our views. So if you like our videos, if you like our series, do hit the subscribe button and like our videos. If you find that there is something which is to be incorporated by my end, you can comment in the comment section, and we'll definitely incorporate your suggestions. So till the next time we meet, goodbye.